They left you out, ignored your name, overlooked your value like you were background noise in a world obsessed with volume or good. Because rejection is the birthplace of monsters, of kings, of quiet storms that build in silence and explode without warning. You weren't meant to be accepted. You were meant to become undeniable, not through begging, not through proving, but through becoming something they can't ignore. Rejection taught you what no praise ever could. It stripped away the need for permission. It buried your weakness and gave birth to clarity. You stopped chasing circles that never wanted you in the first place. And in that cold space of being alone, overlooked, and underestimated, you built. You trained. You burned. And now you don't walk with hope in your heart. You walk with fire in your chest, and you don't apologize for it. They expect the same version of you they once dismissed. Let them. That's the trap. Because while they were laughing, you were learning. While they were sleeping, you were shaping steel from every setback, every silent night, every closed door. You turned your pain into your process, your solitude into your sharpening. And now, you don't knock. You kick the damn door off its hinges and make the room feel your arrival. This isn't revenge. This is evolution. This is what happens when a soul stops needing approval and starts feeding on truth. You no longer care if they understand your path. You've walked roads too dark for their comfort. You've stood in places too silent for their ego. And every version of yourself that once hesitated, you left them behind as sacrifices to the climb. Now, when you speak, it's with intention. When you move, it's with force. When they see you, they're not sure what changed, they just know they're not in control anymore. That's the power of being built from rejection. It makes you immune to their tactics. Their silence doesn't affect you. Their approval doesn't define you. Because you've already made peace with being the outsider, and from that place you built your empire. So keep walking, keep building. And when they finally come around to recognize you, don't slow down. Don't shrink, don't explain. Just smile and let them feel what it means to unleash someone who no longer waits for a seat at their table. You were built from rejection. Now dominate without apology. And now that you've tasted the freedom of not needing anyone's approval, you've become dangerous in the purest sense. You no longer carry the weight of trying to fit in. You no longer edit your fire to keep others warm. You walk in truth, sharpened by rejection, unbothered by the noise. And that truth, it cuts, it offends, it exposes. Because most people don't hate your power, they hate the mirror you've become. A reflection of everything they refused to become when they had the chance. Let them stare. Let them whisper. That's what spectators do. But you're not here to entertain. You're here to disrupt. You're here to break patterns. You're here to turn silence into strategy and wounds into war paint. They think you got lucky. They think something just clicked. What they don't see is the brutal discipline, the nights filled with doubt and rage, the moments when you almost gave up but didn't. That's what makes you real. That's what makes you unstoppable. You've built something no one can give you and no one can take away. A power rooted in self, not applause. A legacy crafted in the dark, not on stage. And when people finally ask how you did it, they'll expect a secret, a shortcut, a step-by-step but you'll give them nothing. Because those who were built in rejection know this truth. Not everyone deserves the blueprint. You don't explain yourself to the same world that tried to bury you. You don't tone it down for people who only cheer when it's safe. You've come too far. You've burned too bright. And now you exist in a league of your own above the noise, beyond the games, immune to the manipulation that once held you back. You aren't the same. You never will be again. So go ahead, move louder, stand taller, speak bolder. You've earned every scar, every stare, every ounce of discomfort you now cause. Because when you were rejected, you didn't shrink. You transformed. And now, every step you take is a reminder. They didn't break you. They built you. And from here on out, there's no more shrinking to make them comfortable. No more dimming your light so their insecurities can breathe. You were never meant to fit in, you were meant to bend reality. To walk into every room and flip the atmosphere without even raising your voice. Because when you've been built from rejection, your power isn't loud, it's undeniable. It lingers, it haunts, it rewrites the entire narrative. Now your presence speaks before you do. It reminds them of who you are, not with arrogance, but with absolute certainty. You don't chase opportunities, you become them. You don't adapt to the room adapts to you. Because once you've survived being the outsider, the overlooked, the doubted, you no longer ask for permission. You take your position. You're not fueled by rage anymore. That was the old you. Now you're driven by clarity. Ruthless, focused clarity that cuts through distractions and burns through the fog of self-doubt. You're no longer here to be accepted. You're here to be remembered, to plant flags in places where you were once told you didn't belong, and to do it with a calm fury that makes even your silence feel like a threat. They don't know how to handle you now. The same people who once laughed, doubted, or stayed quiet are suddenly paying attention. But it's too late, because you've outgrown their limits. You've evolved past the need for validation. You've become something they can't predict, can't mold, can't stop. A force not fueled by ego, but by inevitability. Let them talk. Let them wonder. Let them try to catch up. But you keep building, keep striking, keep walking like every step is an earthquake. Because the world doesn't remember those who fit in. It remembers those who refuse to break, and in doing so, rewrote the rules in their own image. You were built from rejection. Now you move through the world without chains, without fear, without apology. And that is power. And the best part, you no longer need to raise your voice to be heard. You don't even need to be seen to be felt. You've entered that rare space where your absence speaks louder than most people's presence. That's what happens when you stop chasing worth and start embodying it. When you stop asking, "Am I enough?" and start declaring, "I'm the standard." It's not arrogance, it's the aftershock of finally understanding who you are. They can't weaponize your past anymore. You've turned every scar into strategy, every failure into fuel. They don't scare you with silence. You thrive in it. They can't confuse you with chaos. You were raised in it. They can't manipulate you with attention, because now you see through it. They built a monster, and now they flinch when it doesn't smile. when it doesn't apologize, when it moves without mercy. You've become a walking disruption to every system that thought it could tame you. And every room you enter is forced to reckon with the truth. You didn't just survive rejection, you weaponized it. You made it your foundation. You turned the cold shoulder of the world into the fire in your lungs. You created momentum from neglect. And now you walk like gravity answers to you. No one is coming to save you, and that's the best thing that ever happened. Because you realized you don't need saving. You need space. Space to execute, to dominate, to rise without being watered down. And now you're done negotiating your presence. You are not for sale. You are not on trial. You are not waiting for a verdict. You are the decision. So go, louder, sharper, smarter. Walk like you own the road they tried to block. Breathe like the air owes you something. And never forget, the same people who once rejected you will either respect your silence or choke on your success. You're not built for approval. You're built for impact. Like, comment, and subscribe.